Hello, everybody. I'm Deanna Minnick. I'm now talking about yellow foods and digestive health. If you've been tracking my videos so far, you know that I've been talking about the rainbow and moving through the rainbow of colors as it relates to food and how each color of food has some type of healing benefit for our bodies. So what about yellow? Yellow is such a happy color. There was a study in Manchester, England some years ago that showed that people who were not anxious or depressed tended to like the color yellow. And what they found was that when they surveyed people, that they found that it was a happy color. It just made them feel good. And so when we have a sunny day outside, yeah, it changes our mood, doesn't it? So there's something really delightful and radiant about the color yellow. Now, how does that translate into foods? Well, when we think of yellow foods, and some of them are quite acidic, and others of them are really high in fiber. So they're doing lots of different things for our gut. Some of that acid, like from lemons or from pineapple, may help to catalyze or to stimulate the digestive process. So that's why I like to have sometimes just a little bit of pineapple after a meal to ensure that I'm breaking things down well enough. And then we have a number of different anti-inflammatory yellow foods like ginger. Ginger is a wonderful, and usually when I think of turmeric, we talked about turmeric under orange. Sometimes turmeric, just depending on its color scheme, it might also fall into yellow, and it fits very well with ginger. These are two powerhouse anti-inflammatories, and I hope that you have these in your spice cabinet or your on your spice rack in your kitchen. So there's something really sparking with these yellow foods. So what are some options for yellow that are healthy? Because there are a lot of options out. Because yellow is such an intriguing, enticing color, there are a number of yellow foods that perhaps aren't so good for us or aren't so good for our cardiometabolic or gut health. Things like cakes and breads and lots of bagels and just bringing in a lot of these bread products or pastas, right? There are a lot of yellow foods that we probably eat on a daily basis. Waffles and cereal products. So how do we shift the yellow of a lot of those processed grain products into yellow foods that really spark our digestive health? So I talked about apples when I spoke about red foods. There are also yellow, golden delicious apples. Asian pears, those are so crisp and crunchy, really unique. I talked about pears and red pears when I talked about red foods, but there are also kind of this yellow tan pears that have different plant compounds. Bananas. I tend to buy my bananas a little bit less ripe so that they're not so sweet because I don't want it again to increase my blood sugar. So having bananas, and oftentimes I'll put a banana into a smoothie and blend it up in the morning or have that as an afternoon snack. Lemons have, one of the more medicinal drinks when I traveled over to Asia, to Nepal, is they would have a drink called hot lemon, where it was simply hot water with fresh squeezed lemon in it. And it was very nourishing. You have that when you first wake up, how healing. And even in Western medicine, we talk about the benefit of those citrus bioflavonoids for the liver, having that cleansing effect on the liver. Lemon is so important. And I like to use all parts of the lemon, not just the juice, but also the zest, the outer part, which is so rich in a lot of these oils, these essential oils that come with citrus fruits. I've already talked about pineapple. In fact, I just had a pineapple last week, found an organic pineapple, relatively inexpensive at Fred Meyer. So I treated myself to that. And then I cut up some pineapple and banana, and I had that ready so that I didn't have to go through so much prep, right? If we can make these foods easy and accessible so that we don't have to think twice about choosing them over a convenient food. Now, I put corn on here, but I'm talking about corn that's like corn on the cob, the fresh, natural form of corn, because corn is in so many different things these days. Soy and corn are in a lot of processed foods, and what ends up happening is people end up with allergies or intolerances to things like corn. I mean, it's everywhere. So if you're allergic or if you're not sure, you can always check with a doctor who can assess that for you. I talked about ginger. I love ginger. I use it as a spice. I use it as a food. The smaller yellow potatoes, remember that the larger the potato, the more of an effect it will have on your blood sugar, and that you do not want. So it's best to get smaller potatoes. Usually smaller plant foods mean more nutrients and less starch. So smaller berries, smaller apples, smaller potatoes, smaller squashes. And typically, most people think, oh, bigger is better. I'm getting more for my money. But you actually get more many times when you have smaller foods, and you get more nutrients there. So be thinking about that. The different squashes. So, if we think about squashes, I mostly think of them as being more of a food in the fall rather than the summer, but there can be some nice soups that we can make using squash. Yellow bell peppers, I've been talking about the red, the orange, and now the yellow, and yellow onions. Lots of different choices here. And so how can we bring more of this radiant yellow and get a little bit more sunshine into our day? So bright. And there are even yellow carrots. I didn't even mention that, but there are yellow carrots if you've ever seen them. Sometimes you only see them if they're in season. So summer squashes of various types, even yellow beets. So lots of different, I mean, just looking at this makes me happy. So enjoy your yellow foods. And when we come back, I'm going to talk about my favorite color, which is green.